We are 1 day away from the start of Leagues 3, so for today's video we're doing my final tips before release. And for our first tip we have don't bank on RNG. One big aspect in this league, unlike prior leagues, is RNG is a decent factor when it comes to getting new fragments. In prior leagues, as soon as you hit a point threshold, you are automatically guaranteed a new relic. Whereas in this league, technically you could be chopping a tree for hours and never hit that RNG where you get the woodcutting fragment. While they've stated if you play enough, you can expect to get every fragment throughout this league in the entire 6 weeks. Don't let the beginning stages of your strategy get busted just banking on getting one of the fragments. For example, I know a lot of people are expecting / hoping to get the Golden Brick Road Agility fragment. Don't spend the entirety of your first day doing agility, just waiting until you get that fragment. Go ahead and just move on, do some other things, and then come back to it. And for our next tip, we have don't overlook set effects. This was a big thing when it came to the fragment reveals because almost every single one of them, a ton of people were mentioning how weak they are. So don't forget the fact that all of these fragments come with an additional set effect, most of which we do not know or have any information on yet. While I guarantee a lot of them can be carried over from prior leagues, there are definitely going to be some new ones that could really shake up some new metas. Now for our next tip we have is always be leveling up a fragment or multiple fragments. And the whole purpose of this tip is even if you're doing content that has no relation to any of the fragments you have currently, always have your maximum amount of fragment slots fully decked out so you're gaining XP in any fragments you do have. So let's say I'm doing Slayer, but I have no combat fragments yet, but I do happen to have the Agility Golden Brick Road fragment. You should 100% always have that equipped, so then by the time you come back to Agility, that fragment's maybe level 2 or even level 3. So rather than getting the initial 4k or 5k, whatever it is with level 1, you're getting the 7k or 15k with level 2 or 3. This is going to be very easy to overlook early on in your account because you automatically get a fragment whenever you choose your combat skill, so you're already going to be filling that first slot you have, but that second fragment slot's going to be coming very early on in day 1, so make sure you pop on a second fragment, even if you don't have one that's going to help you for the rest of day 1. And for our final tip, we have don't forget diaries and their XP lamps. Completing diaries are most likely going to be a task in themselves, but they're very easy to overlook in something like Leagues, because rather than diaries being the main way you progress your account in the main game, there is already a task system in place in Leagues, so they're not the first thing you look for. But with that said, do not overlook them because not only do some of them provide some great rewards like the Arty Cape, but the XP lamps they reward are also multiplied by the XP multiplier, meaning you can get some massive XP drops depending on which tier of the diary you completed. And for the second part of this tip, when you do get those XP lamps, make sure you use them wisely. While there is a cap on the chance you do get a fragment because of the massive XP drops you get from things like diaries and quest, at the end of the day, they still give you a better chance of getting a fragment in a specific skill than doing something like a single action of chopping a tree or fishing a lobster. So with that said, use these lamps wisely. Depending on what skills you have unlocked and what fragments we come to find out there could be some seriously overpowered fragments associated with specific skills. Therefore, you could use your achievement diary lamp to give yourself a massive XP drop in a skill that might have some really decent fragments associated with it. But before we end the video, I completely forgot to mention it earlier, but I have a little bonus tip. And this tip revolves around don't be afraid to continue doing the same content even if you already picked up the fragment. And we'll go ahead and use the agility one as an example because everybody's trying to get this Golden Brick Road fragment. So let's say you happen to pick it up super early on in your agility training. Don't think that it's basically a waste of time to keep doing agility now because you could go level it up to level 3 doing something else and then come back. Because if you did happen to miss, they confirmed getting duplicates of the same fragment you have actually gives you a chunk at the next level on that fragment. So we don't know necessarily the rates or the RNG, how it's all going to work out just yet. But who knows, maybe the best way to level up your fragment is continuing to do the exact same content, hoping to get duplicates. But with that, that's everything I wanted to include in this video. If you guys did enjoy or found it helpful, consider dropping it a like. And this is actually the second tips video I did around Shattered Relics. I'll include the first one at the top of the description if you haven't checked that one out already. But with that, I'll see you guys tomorrow with the release of Leagues 3.